Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to dive into two concepts that you probably use all the time, maybe without even thinking about it: perimeter and area. Now, they might sound kind of similar, but trust me, they answer completely different questions about the world around us.
So, let's imagine this. You're about to give a room a total makeover. You've got two main tasks. First, you need to figure out how much of that cool decorative border to buy to go all the way around the walls. Second, you need to pick out a rug that's going to cover most of the floor. These seem like related problems, but you actually need two totally different types of measurement to solve them. Let's break it down.
Okay, first up, that decorative border. To figure this one out, what we really need to know is the total distance around the entire room. And in the world of geometry, that measurement has a very specific name: perimeter.
And the official definition is actually super simple. The perimeter is just the distance around a polygon, which is really just a fancy way of saying any flat, closed shape with straight sides. Like our room. To find it, you literally just add up the length of every single side. It's a measure of length, plain and simple. Now what's cool here is that, we have these handy little formulas for common shapes, but the main idea is always the same. Just add up the sides. For a rectangle, instead of going length plus width plus length plus width, you can use a shortcut. Just add the length and the width together once, and then double it. So much faster. So, let's actually solve our border problem. Let's say our room is 12 meters long and 9 meters wide. We just plug those numbers right into our rectangle formula. So that's 2 times 12 plus 9. That gives us 2 times 21, which equals 42 meters. And just like that, you need to buy exactly 42 meters of that border. Problem solved.
All right, border done. Now, what about the rug? We're asking a totally different question here. We don't care about the edges of the room anymore. We need to know how much floor space we have to cover inside those walls. And this is where area comes into play.
Now, the absolute key phrase here is square units. Area is all about figuring out how many little 1x1 squares, like a 1 meter by 1 meter square, it would take to completely tile a whole surface. So you can see it's not a measure of distance at all. It's a measure of space.
And notice how the formulas for area are different. For perimeter, we were adding everything up. But for area, we're multiplying. For a rectangle, it's just length times width. For a square, side times side. It's this multiplication that actually creates those square units we were just talking about.
Let's go back to our room one last time. To find the right size for our rug, we multiply the length by the width. So 12 meters times 9 meters. That gives us 108. But, and this is super important, it's not just 108, it's 108 square meters. That little 2 up there is crucial. It tells everyone we're measuring space, not distance. So you need a rug that covers 108 square meters. So if you boil it all down, here it is in a nutshell. Perimeter is the boundary line, right? The edge. Area is all the space inside that boundary. They are two completely different ways of measuring the exact same shape. This is probably the perfect way to picture it. If you're building a fence around a yard, you need to know its perimeter. But if you're buying grass seed to cover that very same yard, you need to know its area. See the difference? One's a line, the other's a surface. And this table just lays it all out so clearly. You can see how perimeter is all about the boundary, the edge, and it's measured in simple length units like feet or meters. Meanwhile, area is about the region inside, the space it takes up, and it requires those square units. The real-world examples really hit it home, right? Fencing a yard versus painting a wall. Totally different jobs.
Okay, so we've got the basics down for simple shapes like rectangles. But let's be real, the world isn't always made of perfect squares, is it? So what do you do with more complex, real-world shapes? Let's see how these same ideas apply.
I mean, think about the floor plan of your average house. It's almost never a simple rectangle. It's usually what we call a composite figure. Basically a shape that's made by sticking two or more simple shapes together. So how in the world do you find the area of a complicated L-shaped room or something like that? Well, the strategy is both simple and incredibly powerful. You just break it down. You slice up the complex shape into familiar pieces, like a few rectangles and maybe a square. Find the area of each of those easy pieces and then just add them all together. So by using that simple break it down method, dividing the weird shape into smaller, manageable chunks, finding their individual areas, and then adding them all up, we get a total of 87 square centimeters. What looked like a really intimidating problem at first just becomes a simple addition task. It's a great trick. Okay, let's wrap this all up with the most important stuff to remember.
Because understanding the difference between perimeter and area isn't just for a math class. It's a super practical skill for home improvement, design, construction, you name it.
So, if you only remember a few things, make it these. 1. Perimeter is the distance around a shape, measured in length units. 2. Area is the space inside a shape, measured in square units. And 3. No matter how wild a shape looks, you can almost always figure out its area just by breaking it down into simpler pieces.
The cool thing is, once you really get this distinction, you start to see the world a little differently. That picture frame on your wall, the garden in your backyard, the floor of your kitchen, they all become these little measurable puzzles you can solve. So I'll leave you with this question. Take a look around you. What are you going to measure first? A perimeter or an area?